pleasure working with you, and we can't thank you enough for everything you've done. It's good to see everybody. I'll tell you what, we started out a very early day with a 6'5" and a 3-year-old, and an all-you-can-eat breakfast at the hotel. So, needless to say, when I say I'm happy to be with somebody older than the age of 5 to talk to an adult, I mean it. So you can see, I don't know if you see out there through the window, but the better half is playing football currently with our middle child, which is Mason. He's 5. So we have a 6'5" and a 3-year-old. Madison is our oldest. She's 6. Mason is in the middle at 5. And then our youngest is 3, Mamie. Don't let anyone tell you the governor runs the show. It's the 3-year-old in the household, by the way. First baby born to a sitting governor in the state of Florida in like 60 years. So she's been a joy, and it's been a pleasure to be able to travel around the state of Iowa with the children. You know, people will say, we're surprised you're bringing the kids with you. That's a lot. But, you know, they grow up so quickly. In a blink of an eye, they say, what, the years are long, days are short, or vice versa. Days are long, years are short. And I'll tell you, we don't want to miss any of it. So they have a whole week off of school, and they're out there playing with us. And we're going to bring them around, and we're going to keep talking about really what we're fighting for. And what we're fighting for is them. It's for our children, for your children, and for your grandchildren. Because I would say this is one of the most consequential elections of our lifetime. Not the general, yes, we've got to win that. When you look at what they're trying to do on a federal level, look at abolishing the Electoral College, making D.C. a state, talking about packing the Supreme Court, mass mailing of voter ballots and IDs, and abolishing voter IDs. You look at the fundamental transformation that they're trying to make to this country, and it's scary. And so when I look at what we're doing to try to protect this country for future generations, for our kids, your grandkids, and their kids, I think you have to put it all on the line. So why DeSantis? Why at this moment in our nation's history do we need to be having somebody like him? Well, I'll tell you, I've been watching him for a long time. And I've been watching him from behind the scenes. And I'll tell you, one thing you can say about him is he is a fighter. When everything is on the line and the world is coming after him, he always stands up for what he believes in. And no story in my mind could be more true than what happened during COVID. Because you saw there were people in Washington, bureaucracies and elitists, who were trying to tell you that you couldn't go to church with your family. Of course, that didn't happen in the state of Iowa, it didn't happen in the state of Florida, but other places they were shutting down churches. They were preventing you from being able to put food on the table for your loved ones. They were preventing the kids from being able to go to school, not enabling them to be able to live up to their God-given potential. They weren't allowing people to go to work, to put food on the table for their families. They were shutting down businesses that people had worked their entire lives for, but yet they were allowing big box corporations to stay open. They were enforcing and trying to make you take a COVID mRNA jab contingent upon you keeping your job, and they were forcing masks upon your face. And not in the state of Florida, because the governor, and your governor too, stood up for what was right. And yes, the policy prescriptions that I saw him do in the state of Florida, that was right, holding the line in the name of freedom, people's rights, liberties, livelihoods, and happiness. I remember during the Super Bowl when people were coming down to the state of Florida, and there were people with tears in their eyes because they hadn't been able to go out to dinner and eat with their loved ones in a long time. And to be able to see that and think, my goodness, we've gone so far in society when you have a government who's literally preventing people from doing that. You have elitists in other states who are going out to eat and doing dinner when they chose, but they were telling you, you couldn't do that. But what I think is really important about that story, and yes, it was about the policy prescriptions when it was a very difficult time, an emergency in this nation's history, but really it's about what was happening behind the scenes. Because I watched day after day. I saw the governor get up, and I saw him go downstairs, and I saw him fight and arm himself with the data, the facts, and the evidence, and everything that was happening, and coming out of places like Sweden and UK and the United Kingdom, and talking to people who had been blacklisted and censored on Twitter, by our government, was censoring Twitter, and not allowing people like Dr. Bhattacharya and Gupta and Kordoff to be able to get their voices out. I saw him look at all of the evidence and the facts and the truth. And this is in the midst of unrelenting attacks on him. They were coming from every angle. The right in Washington, you saw the left, you saw corporate media, you saw the bureaucracy, you saw Fauci, and it wasn't just up and down with the media, right? It was like a blip on the radar where you face a hard time and then it's on to the next thing they're coming after you for. It was unrelenting. It was month after month after month of saying some of the most nastiest things you could possibly imagine about an individual. But what I saw in him is when he was coming down every day to arm himself with the facts and the truth, I saw him get up every single day, get in front of the cameras, and fight for what he knew to be right. And that, to me, is what you really are looking for, and I do, in a leader. Because when the rubber meets the road, and you have to make a decision, are you like a lot of politicians now, when they put their finger into the wind and they try to figure out which way is politically advantageous for their careers? Because that's what a lot of politicians do. Because it's really hard to stand up for what's right. You're going to get attacked. You're going to get pilloried. We did it. We had the Grim Reaper standing outside of our house for a long time. And the kids would look through the blinds. They're like, what is that? I'm like, ignore it. Don't worry about it. It was a guy that was trying to like shut down beaches. It was crazy. But when the moment that it matters, when you have to stand up for what is right, what do you do? Do you subcontract your leadership to some bureaucracy, and when things go wrong, you say, well, that guy told me to do it. It wasn't me, because you don't want to be held accountable. It wasn't me. Oh, it was Fauci. It was somebody else. No, you stand up and put yourself in front of an oncoming freight train, because at the end of the day, the people elected you to do something, and that's stand up for them and be their voice. And I saw him every single day get attacked and attacked and attacked, and every single day he stood in front of those cameras and he defended what was right. And that is what you want in a president of the United States. Not somebody that's going to go over there and subcontract their leadership, or somebody who's going to try to find the easy way out or point fingers when things don't go right. Somebody that will stand up for you, because we haven't had that for a long time. And I get very frustrated when I look at politicians anymore, because I don't believe that they're in it for the right reasons. You know, our founding fathers never believed that anyone would go to Washington to make this a career. It was supposed to be go, enact laws, come home, and serve under the laws that you pass. And now it becomes this swamp where they're in it for themselves. And you look at the surrounding counties around Washington, D.C., and some of the richest counties are in and around that area. And you think to yourselves, what are they doing up there? Is it anything really great? Or are they just a lot of hot air and it's all a lot of back scratching? And at the end of the day, we are the ones that suffer. And we have got to change this country and the trajectory and put us back on the pathway to greatness. And so I have a lot of stories I can tell you about the governor. I can tell you that is probably in my heart one of the biggest ones I wanted to say, because that's what you want when the rubber meets the road with the leader. But he's also a dad of a 6'5" and 3-year-old, and I talked about him making sure we leave our country to our kids better than the one that we found it. He's also a guy, when you look at service, when he had the opportunity after graduating from college to potentially do other things, and even when he graduated from law school, he decided to serve in the United States Navy because he wanted to give back to the country that had given him so much, and that's opportunity to fight for what he believed in. And so at the end of the day, I couldn't be more proud of everything that he's done. And people ask me too, they say, well, why do you come out here and do this? You know, you're getting hit. It's funny because they've started to dub me the Walmart Melania. I don't know if you've seen that. Which I think is awesome. I'm not going to lie. Because if I can be in the same sentence as Melania, that's a total win for me, okay? Like, I like that. She's gorgeous. Check that box. And also, yes, of course I shop at Walmart. Have you seen what inflation's been doing to the economy? I have to go in and get like $2 t-shirts because my kids grow up so quickly. So, you know... But I do it because another thing is like, I don't know if you know this about my story too, in the sense that, you know, I had a health battle in late 2021, 2022. I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And there was a time in my life where I wasn't sure I was going to see my kids graduate from kindergarten, let alone graduating from college or walking down the aisle. And I know very clearly that when the good Lord gives you an opportunity to be able to make a difference, then what do you do with it? Do you sit on the sidelines? Are you a potted plant? Do you watch the world go by and just hope things get better? Or do you put yourself into the arena and you try to make your case? And I'll tell you, I could not live with myself if I didn't come out every day of the week and twice on Sunday to advocate for the governor. Not because I'm married to him. That's nothing to do with that. Because I've seen him fight. I've seen him fight every single day for what's right. And I can tell you he's in it for the right reasons. And so with that, it's my honor and privilege to introduce to you the next governor of the United States, next president, current governor, soon to be president, Ron DeSantis.